Well, you can tell us what immediately sticks out for you in our look at the papers this morning. But for us, it is the Edo decides, if you like, the governorship elections taking place in Edo State tomorrow. Well, yesterday was the last day of campaigns. Usually there's a 24-hour break according to INEC guidelines. As such, there'll be no campaigning today. The last day, you can't ever trust political parties not to try and see how they can circumvent the rules. You see them still trying to, maybe send text messages, etc., etc. But our correspondents are on the ground in Edo State, and one of them, our political correspondent, Dari Idowu, is on the ground right there. I see that you're standing in front of the INEC signboard. All eyes will certainly be on INEC today, tomorrow, and even after tomorrow. Dari, can you bring us up to speed with how the mood is in Edo State? Are the people upbeat about going to the polls tomorrow?
Yeah, thank you very much, Malpe. Of course, you can see that there's been a lot of activities, movement in and out of the INEC office here, where you would see a lot more of this in the coming hours. By the time votes open by 8:30 tomorrow morning, by the time it closes by 2:30, a lot more activities will be diverted here. So the question about how people are looking forward to this particular election. I've been speaking to a lot of people. Of course, as a journalist, if you're in town, you would have to engage cab drivers, engage people at the market, engage even civil society organizations, the police, and also the umpire. And focusing on the people now, they are quite upbeat about this. They are excited. They say they'll be going out to vote tomorrow, although they expressed a bit of maybe reservations as to maybe there will be thugs or any activities that may them from going out, but they say they will be very resolute. I just finished speaking to a resident before we got to this location, and he told me particularly that he's looking forward to the election. He will go out to vote. He said he's hoping to see the next governor pay attention to job creation, pay attention to infrastructure development, and also training of the teaming youth in the state. The mood has been quite, let me say, a lot of excitement, relatively calm, cool weather. The people are looking forward to the poll, Malpe.
Indeed. Well, it's good to know that, the people are looking forward to the polls. Security has been a major concern, but we see that right behind you. We can see some police officers sitting right behind you there. We understand that there's been a heavy deployment of security operatives. Nonetheless, we've seen CSOs also raise issue with security around 8 local government areas. Have there been any special reassurances given by the security agencies since that report had shown up?
Yes, Malcolm. There's been a lot of briefing and a lot of conversation about security and how things will play out. Let me talk about what the police have been saying. First of all, they said there will be a lot of deployment, 35,000 personnel from the police alone, assisted by another 8,000 from other security agencies. And they say everywhere, the borders of Edo State, Edo borders, Ondo, Delta, Kogi, and Anambra, and all of these borders will be manned by different security agencies. They've assured the residents, they say residents should come out, but there's a caveat to that. If you don't have your PVC, you have been advised to stay indoors, monitor the elections, monitor the proceedings, and you don't have any business on the street. That is what the police have said. But if you have your PVC, go to the polling station, go cast your vote, monitor it, go back when the voting is going to be counted, and you are assured, according to the police, Malpe.
I mean, Dari, it's so good to see you again. I remember 2 of us in nowhere. Are you going to do a repeat of that? Because I remember in nowhere, we woke up first thing in the morning and we went door to door. We actually stayed knocking on people's gates and finding out how they felt. With everything that's going on, and all of the do or die and the, the extra security. That's a lot of security, 35,000 plus another
8,000 you've told us. And with the tension that we do feel, even from civil society, we're hearing their fears about the security in that place. That's a pressing issue. How are you, what's the pulse you're getting from the people themselves? Because we had pretty much the same sort of feeling, but people were gung-ho. They said they were going to come out. They were outside waiting for the elections to start. Do you get that feeling in Edo? Is it a little different? Are people a little scared?
Yeah, Kayla, you know what happened in Owerri to make reference to that, because there was a lot of anticipation before the election as well. And in this particular case, pre-election activities, tensions heightened and all of that. The people are also still looking forward to the election. But what I always look forward to as a journalist is, let's get to those very busy polling units. Let's see if people will turn out. Before you start seeing the numbers, that can tell you what can happen. But what the CSOs are saying is that there's a 19% increase from the people who collected the PVCs compared to 2020, where the last election was held here in Edo State. And if you go by that particular percentage, it means that there's a level of anticipation and optimism on the part of the people. Let's see if that would translate to them coming out tomorrow when polls open by 8:30, Kayla.
The political players in Edo State, have you been able to? See, I know campaigns have ended, but from time to time, as we normally do, we would go check up on the political players, see how they're feeling and things like that. Do you have any information on how all the parties are doing right now?
Yeah, because the campaigns have ended, we're playing down on politicians at this point and focusing largely on the people. But what I can tell you is that many of them are traveling to their hometowns. Some of them are traveling as far as 4 hours away from the state capital here in Benin City, getting ready for the election. What usually would happen is that there would be a whole lot of activities where they will be voting, and we will be, of course, we did a lot of checks on them yesterday when they were wrapping up their campaigns. At this point, just like Mark mentioned during the intro, that you can see a situation where they are trying to do some kind of campaigns underneath that is not out there in a way that it will be flagged, quote and unquote. But at this point, all you can see, and what we are also avoiding, are the billboards erected across the state, and they cannot come out publicly to say anything until maybe tomorrow morning, when they go to the polling unit to cast their vote. They would also get that coverage. But at this point, I can tell you it's a lot more about the people, what the mood is, how excited they are, what their expectations are going to this election tomorrow, Kayla.
Of course, and the deployment of INEC, because as like yesterday when we spoke with INEC officials, and even some CSOs, they said they were on their way to INEC offices and materials were being deployed to the different racks of the local government areas. So I want to imagine that INEC has its game on, even though there's been an increase in the price of petrol, which could affect the deployment of transport union workers. Can you bring us up to speed as to whether there's been a truce between INEC and the transport unions and whether they'll be deployed early tomorrow?
That's a very strong point, although at this point I may not be able to confirm to you if there's been a solid arrangement. But what I can tell you is that they've been able to move sensitive materials from the CBN to the local government. What happens then is that after the movement from the CBN to local government, the local government will now start dispatching to different racks and to different wards across the state. 192 was in 18 local governments in Edo State. 4,519 polling units. INEC has been given a lot of reassurances that everywhere will be covered. They mentioned that 5,000 beavers will be distributed to these polling units, and they would have about 18,000 ad hoc officials in different polling units, of course, from the presiding officers to the APO 1, APO 2, and 3. They would also have supervising officers just to ensure that the whole process goes on smoothly. it is a very valid point, transportation, logistics, especially now that we have a bit of a situation with fuel scarcity and also the price hike. So before now, for context now, in Imo, where we got to where materials were supposed to be distributed, because the reference to Imo is very important because it's the last staggered election that we had in the country. And there was a bit of a situation as well. NULTW or the transport workers decided that they weren't going to go anywhere until they got the full payment, and that was there was a bit of a lag, and officials weren't able to get to their point on time. All of these things are the issues, the logistics that I hope, of course, by tomorrow we'll be able to give you something concrete. But as of now, it is hard to tell. We see INEC has assured that local governments are already getting the materials, the sensitive materials, and it would definitely be getting to each of the wards, then from there to the polling units. Mark.
So the polls are expected to open at 8 a.m. tomorrow, correct?
Usually 8:30, except if anything has changed. 8:30 and it closes at 2:30. But by standard, if you're still on the line by 2:30, it is mandatory that, of course, you will be attended to, but they would not allow any more voter to come in after 2:30, except Malcolm.
Well, thank you very much, Dario. We urge you to please stay safe. And certainly we know that we can count on you to bring us up to speed, giving us every juicy detail of what is happening in Edo State. Thank you so much, our correspondent there, Dario Idowu, in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Oh, we certainly will be keeping tabs. There's so much more to come on this program for the Edo elections. We'll be speaking with the INEC rec in Edo State much later, and I'm sure he certainly will have more details for us, but we ask you to please stay with us. We'll be right back.